to the Teacher Goals Podcast. This is your host, Erica Terry. How are you all tonight?
It's going
Super
well.
excited about tonight's conversation. If you've ever thought about wanting to be a speaker, even if you're still in the classroom, still teaching, it is possible. And we're going to be talking about all of that tonight. And so, if you haven't already done so, go ahead and start putting in the comments where you're from, your role in education. And this week, I want to hear about your spring break plans. So, go ahead and kind of tell me what fun things you got planned. I know some schools up north are going on spring break. Tomorrow's their last day. I have two nephews who are out next week. Down here in the South, we're here a little bit later than you all. We go like that first week in April. So super excited about spring break, excited to see who we have hanging out with us tonight, and excited to see and hear from Dr. Richard Warren, who is our guest tonight. And so I will be bringing him up in a couple of minutes. But before I do, just in case this is your first time, let me kind of explain to you how we roll here at the Teacher Goals Podcast. I'm your host, Erica Terry, and I will be asking him all types of questions to find out exactly like what do you need to do to become a paid speaker as a teacher. So I'm going to get all those details for you. As we're talking, I want you to go ahead and put any questions that you have in the chat, because at the very end, he's going to be answering those questions. So he's agreed that he'll stay on and answer any questions that you have. And so make sure you go ahead and put those in the chat, and we will definitely get to them. And so before I bring him up, I just want to do a few shout outs. I want to say hello to Deb or Taylor, who is Michigan special education teacher, and tomorrow is the last day for a week. So thanks for joining us, and enjoy your spring break. We have Teresa from Alabama, a mom of four who is a lead success coach. Welcome, Teresa. We have Thornton, who is a math teacher in Charlotte. Hello and welcome. We have Learning Miss O. Greetings from DC. Hello. And last but not least, we have Rosa, who is here from Boston. And so, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. And so, without further ado, I am going to bring on Dr. Richard Warren, who is going to be teaching us tonight how to become a paid teacher speaker. Hello, how are you?
What's going on? I am doing fine. Incredibly excited to be here.
Awesome. And we are so excited to have you. And so we're going to just dive right in, if that's all right with you.
That's
I
all right.
always like to find out the story. So kind of tell us how you got started in education, and what was the story? How did you get to where you are now?
Yeah, so actually, it's interesting. I didn't even start out wanting to become an educator, but it kind of, I would say it happened for a reason. I was invited back to the school district to mentor some young men who were struggling academically and behaviorally. And I started mentoring, and a guy, he asked me, did I want to substitute teach? That was the first time in my life I ever even considered teaching, even though it was a substitute teacher role. I started substitute teaching, mentoring, and I realized that the place that I was once sitting, I was now serving. And I started to see pieces of myself and all the students that I was teaching, challenges that they had to overcome, obstacles that they were facing. And I just fell in love with the teaching profession. And from that point forward, taught science and STEM, got certified 8th grade, and became the 2019 Maryland State Teacher of the Year. And from that,
Congratulations on that.
yeah. And so
Yes.
from that came tons of opportunities to be able to advocate for our profession and our students.
I love it. And I love what you said about being able to serve where you once sat. Like, I'm going to steal that. I'll give you credit for it, but that's a good one. Being able to serve where you once sat. That is awesome. And so you became the teacher of the year. All of a sudden, it opened up all of these doors for you.
Mhm.
And what happened? What made you say to yourself, okay, all of these doors are opening for me. So let me help other teachers become speakers. Like, what made you just all of a sudden say, I'm going to help other people in my profession to reach this goal?
Yeah, I mean, here's what I believe. I believe that every teacher has a story, and every teacher shares those stories with their students, with their families, with their communities, in ways that they can package it so that they can share it with the rest of the world. And so, there are so many different crazy stories and so many different inspiring stories that teachers go through on a daily basis. And some of those stories can be packaged up so well to help another teacher. Um, all of the stories that I have been able to capture from my students through my personal story, through my journey, and I go out and I share it with teachers, it's literally helping, encouraging them, pushing them further, challenging them, all the strategies and tools. And I realized that there are so many other teachers out there who have the same stories or similar stories that can be sharing this with teachers all over. And so I was like, you know what? I've been doing this for a while. I've been successful at it. Let me help someone else share the same knowledge or share something with the rest of the world. Because if you're like me and you're engaged in the critical work of teaching students every single day, you probably realize that there aren't many ways to earn extra income while you're still teaching in the classroom. But teaching and professional development and speaking is one of those avenues you can do it while you're still in the classroom. And so I was like, I want to help teachers, make an impact and increase their income.
Man, this is so good. Like, you are putting out so many good nuggets. I don't even know which direction to go in, but I am going to land on what you said about sharing your story, because oftentimes people that I've worked with, people that I know that are in education, think that in order for you to have a platform or to become a speaker, you have to like be this guru expert. But that is not kind of what I heard you saying in between
Mm-mm.
the lines. So can you speak to that for us? Like, do you have to be a guru in order to be a paid speaker, or like what?
No, I mean, honestly, here's what I believe. I believe don't let your stories go to waste. Let
Ooh.
it work wonders. Don't let it go to waste. Let it work
Yes.
wonders. And so you just have to identify your niche, right? Identify your specific thing, the thing that motivates you to come, or your journey or your story. I know for me, my story was that, I was a child, I was a student who most teachers didn't want in their classroom. I was a child who most teachers would have wrote off, suspended, and they did. And it was because I came from a lot of trauma and I was acting out, but it was really a cry out. And so I had a teacher who saw past and saw beyond that. She saw me more than just as a human doing. She saw me as a human being, and she broke things down for me in a way that I could understand it. And I was able to graduate high school, get into college, and now I'm a teacher, right? And so it's all about finding your niche. I knew that my niche was helping teachers to uncover the potential in all students, helping teachers to understand their why and the impact that they can make on a child's life. So whatever your niche is, whether it be, hey, I'm really good with gifted and talented students, and I inspire kids to take learning to the next level. Or I'm really good with special needs and special needs students. Or I'm really good with helping teachers boost teacher morale because of my story. So whatever it is that you feel like you're bringing to this profession that's unique to you, all you have to do is identify that and package it up and share it with the world, because there's somebody who needs to hear it. So you don't have to be a guru in everything. You just got to be a guru in you.
A guru and you. Y'all, I don't know if y'all are catching these nuggets that are coming out tonight. Woo! But they are good. So you don't have to be a guru in everything. And I know it's someone on here tonight that needs to hear this, because you have potential in you and you've been putting it off, putting it off, putting it off, thinking that you have to be a guru, like you're not expert enough yet. But like Richard just said, you just got to be a guru in you. I love it. So choose your niche, identify like how are you going to help others? How are you going to inspire them? And then from there, what do you do next? Like, okay, I can, have my story. I can say this is what I want to do, but how do I go from wanting to be a speaker to actually securing that first contract or getting on stage, getting in front of people for the first time?
Yeah, one of the things I will recognize, and I'll say this, Success on any level is preceded by supports on many levels, right? So once you identify your niche, you identify the guru in you, then you want to like start to develop your speaking skills, right? You want to practice in front of people. You want to see if it's packaged and organized right. And that's one of the things I do in my teacher speaker mastermind program. I help you identify that niche and then I help you package it up and you get to practice, right? So, you practice, you attend some speaking workshops if you like to, and you just build that confidence in what you're doing. Because a lot of teachers have it. It's just that they got to build the confidence. It's the mindset, right? The beliefs that they can actually do it. And then from there, what you like what I encourage people to do is to like go to conferences, sit in, network with organizers, attend those conferences, build relationships with other speakers in the field. And it's going to help you get your foot in the door and help you, help get invited to speak at events. One of the things that I truly also believe is that you have to start somewhere. And so what I did was like I started just speaking for free, right? I started speaking for free. I started working with our new teacher induction program in my school district, working with all the beginning teachers who come in. And I started doing like workshops on like classroom management, student engagement. And I just wanted to hone in on my craft and help teachers. And I did that for free. And then I started speaking at community events. People who wanted speakers, I was like, hey, I'll speak. And then I started working on my story, working on my story, working on my story. And the right person heard it in the crowd and then asked me, well, how much do you charge? Right? You see that? Like you
I
start
see
out
it.
free. You start out free, but it's not really free. Right? You do it, you perfect it, and somebody in the room is going to hear it and want you to expand on it or bring it to their school or their community or their program. And so that's how you get your foot in the door, and that's how you initially get those contracts set up and those opportunities in the future.
Yes, and I love it because you're practicing, of course, but it's like they say, don't be ready so you don't have to get ready. Like already know when that person asks you how much you charge, don't be stuttering trying to make something up. Already have it ready,
Listen,
like boom, this what you got to do. This what you know what I'm saying? Like be
right.
ready. So I love that. I love it. And so speaking at your school district, I love that, like getting that practice and being involved in training. If there's a conference that you love, teach your heart out, for example. Volunteer at that conference so that you get to know the organizers, you get to know the decision makers that are making those decisions about who's going to have the sessions, who's going to have be speakers, things of that nature. So these are all really good tips, strategies. Any others, like someone that is brand new, like, is there any time, like I hear people saying, well, I haven't been teaching long enough. Like, are there any limits or anything like that? Or is it like, just go for it?
Yeah, I mean, I think as soon as you begin teaching, you will quickly have plenty of stories to reflect on. Even your journey into teaching is a story to reflect on, right? And so it's not a matter of like how much experience you have. It's just about pulling that experience and packaging it in a way that it makes sense. Because whether you are just starting out as a teacher, whether you are mid-career, whether you're a veteran, you can speak to your audience. And that's when it goes back to like, what is your niche? What is the guru in you? And what is the audience that you want to speak to? Right? Are you speaking to the teacher who has just started out? Are you teaching to the teacher who wants a little bit more? Are you talking to the teacher who's burnt out? Are you talking to the teacher who needs encouragement? Like, what is your niche? So if you're inspirational, you're going to inspire. If you're motivation, you're going to motivate. If you are encouraging, you're going to encourage. If you're going to challenge, you're going to like. So what is your niche? What is your audience? It doesn't matter where you come in on the spectrum because somebody needs to hear it.
Yes. And so do you have so when we think about this, being a paid teacher speaker, you already shared with us like volunteer, start for free, get yourself out there. So, are there other strategies that people can use in order to share their message, spread their message? Like, what are some type of strategies that
Hmm.
people that feel like they have no platform, maybe they don't, have
Hmm.
those 10,000
Yeah.
people following them? Like, what are things that they can do if they feel like they're unknown or unheard of?
Yeah. One of the things I always like to say, you don't got to wait for a platform. You can build your own. Like if you want to speak, you build your own platform. There are so many avenues. Like what I like to say this: like create your own celebrity. Create your own celebrity. And so if you want to get on YouTube, you want to get on Instagram, you want to start a podcast, you want to start, you just want to offer, just say, hey, I'm hosting this event, a small group, 5 people. I'm going to talk about this topic. You don't need a lot of people in the room. You just need the right people in the room. And here's what I believe also. You need to pair up with somebody who's been there before, right? You need to have a coach. You need to have a mentor because here's what coaches and mentors do. They give you speed. Coaches and mentors give you speed. What am I talking about? Things that took me years to learn, I can give it to you in a week, right? Things that took me months to learn, I can give it to you in a day. So you have to be able to, one, create your own celebrity, set up your own niche, and get a coach. Get a coach, somebody who's going to help you get to where you want to get faster. Those are some of the ways, like, if you're just like, I don't have an audience, I don't have, create your own celebrity, get a coach and mentor, because they're going to be the ones to push you and create an audience for you. One of my mentors um, literally was like, hey, I don't have this, I have a speaking gig. I can't do it. I know you've been working on this and I helped you hone in your craft. I want to give this to you as an opportunity. Do you want to take it? Right there, that was my audience. I didn't have one, he gave me one. And so when you get with people who are speakers, people who really want to coach and mentor you, you might have opportunities just through that mentor to mentee relationship, which is why I'm putting this plug in for my teacher speaker mastermind, because there are so many people, there's so many opportunities that I get coming in. And I'm just like, I can't do it all. I have a family at home. I got to raise my boys. And if I had an opportunity to share this with other teachers who are just as passionate about this as me, I would love to do so.
Yes, cut that check to go faster. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I say that all the time. Like, find someone that is doing what you want to do and get up under them, because you're going to learn so much that, you wouldn't have to waste time really trying to figure out on your own. And oftentimes, people have platforms that they can use. I love that example. But even with virtual summits, conferences, like, people have platforms and they love to bring their people on those platforms. So definitely some great advice. So when a teacher wants to become a speaker, I know oftentimes an issue that I hear is time, because a lot of contracts, you only have like 3 personal days. They're teaching, all year. And so what are, those barriers that a teacher that might want to become a speaker, what are some of the barriers or challenges that they face, and what can they do to overcome them?
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head. Making sure that they have enough days during the week if they have to take off, making sure that the principal's on board, the school leadership is on board with their professional development, also making sure that they map out their weekends with their families to make sure that, this is the
Mhm.
location that they can go to. So those are some of the barriers: the school, your family, the leadership, the district, and kind of like navigating those lines. Here's how I solved the problem. Number one, I took it as professional development. Not only did I go to the conference to speak and to do a workshop, I actually went to learn. And so some school districts work it out where, hey, you can go to this professional development. Some of them will say, hey, you just can't get paid. We can't pay you that day, or we can pay you that day. You can't. So you just got to work that out with your school district,
Mhm.
with your family. You just got to say, hey, either you can come with me, it's in the contract, right, or not,
Mhm.
um, and go from there. School leadership, just let your school leadership know, like, hey, you want to be a teacher, but you also want to be a teacher leader and lead in other areas. And you don't want to leave the classroom. So this is one of the ways that you can demonstrate scholarship in the educational marketplace without leaving the classroom. Because let's face it, great teachers have options.
Yes. So
Great teachers
true.
have options.
So
You either
true.
you And sometimes those options may be, administrative path, supervisor path, coordinator path, district superintendent path. And sometimes teachers don't want to take that pathway. They love teaching, but the only way they can feel like promoted and make increase their income is to leave the classroom sometimes. And
Right.
so this is the perfect opportunity to say, you know what, I want to be a classroom teacher, but at the same time, I also want to make an impact on the educational world.
Love it. So you are making an impact and making that income. Love it. I love those strategies that you shared with the challenges that teachers face, especially when you have a family and you want to spend time with your family on the weekends because you're so busy. I love that idea of maybe bringing the fam with you, like turn it into a little mini weekend vacation. That would be fun for the kids. And so love that. And so for a teacher that wants to get started, what if they were like, okay, this is the path that I want to take? What is something that they can start or do as soon as tomorrow, or maybe even tonight, if their mind is like going, like, oh, this is what I want to do? What are some actions that they can take to get started on this path to becoming a speaker?
What I would tell them to do is number one, um, write down their journey into teaching. Like what made them become a teacher? How was that journey for them? And they can start as early as their experiences in high school or before then. That's your first lead in. Then I would tell them to identify three inspiring stories or three stories that really speak to the topic you want to speak to. It could be student stories, it could be personal stories, it can be research stories. What are those three stories that really um, inspire you and motivate you to keep going, right? And then at the end, what are two or three things that you want um, your colleagues or your audience to leave away with, right? So I'm telling you how to craft your speech right now,
Yes,
right?
you're giving them the formula for the story. Yes,
Right. So
absolutely.
so your journey into teaching, what was that like? Why did that inspire you to keep moving forward? What are three stories that really make it really like sit with you in a way that no other stories sit with you, right? And then what are three things that you would like your audience to take away from? Now again, this all goes back, it's a through line. This all goes back to identifying your niche, identifying the guru in you. So what is it that you can really talk about and it won't be hard to talk about? Does that make sense? Like what can you flow into without even having to look at a script or a written document where you got to read off, like it should be able to come natural because it's your lived experience.
Right.
Can't nobody talk about your lived experience better than you. And then once you get from
Yes.
there, it's just like practicing it. That's all. So I think for that individual who wants to implement some action tomorrow, do those things. Do those things, and then obviously you will want to connect with a coach or somebody who can help you refine it and to make sure like it's actually doing what needs to be done for your audience.
Yes. And this just made me think of one more question. Like I keep thinking about people that I've worked with, and you've given them, I mean, y'all, we come back and watch this video. Like he is laying down exactly what you need to be doing if this is the path that you want to take. Or listen to the episode when it drops, because it'll drop wherever you listen to podcasts at. We are there. So go ahead right now and subscribe to the Teacher Goals Podcast. Cheap plug. But back to my question.
Yeah, yeah.
So what I am thinking about are those people that they're like, well, I'm multi-passionate. Like I love talking about classroom management and literacy and everything under the sun. So what do you say to that person that feels like they've been in education for a while, so they can talk about all of these different topics
Yeah,
as
I
they're
say that.
crafting their story? Yes.
Yeah, you could be multifaceted. Just create a menu of your speaking titles. So, for example, if you want to talk about classroom, because I have a menu, right? If you want to talk about classroom management, that's one of your menus of speaking topics. You want to talk about student behavior, that's a menu. You want to talk about student engagement, that's a menu. You want to talk about teacher self-care, that's a menu. So you can do all of those things. And if your lived experience can speak to all of those things, just create a menu. You can be multifaceted. Create that menu and then speak on those specific topics, right? But just make sure when you are speaking, you speak on that one topic, right? You speak on that one topic from your menu, and um, that will be the best advice for you.
Yes, love it. So if you're multi-passionate, create a menu, but every item on that menu needs to be separate. Don't try to put all those passions
Hmm.
in one speech. Love, love, love it. So any
Hmm.
final words of wisdom? Like I have learned so much tonight. You just
Hmm.
drop, like you just can't just drop the mic. Like I wish you had one where you could just drop it. Like you gave so many gems tonight. So thank you for that. Any final words of wisdom?
Yeah. Going into this market of teacher speaker, there's no blueprint. There's no blueprint initially if you try to do it yourself, right? And so my final words of wisdom is, like I said, find somebody who's already been doing it, right? And there's three things that you need to have if you're going into this so you don't waste time. Number one, you got to have the mindset. Number two, you got to have the skill set. And number three, you're going to need the toolkit. Mindset, skill set, toolkit. What do I mean by mindset? Mindset. Like we got to tackle those limiting beliefs. The beliefs that says, well, I don't deserve to be up here. What am I doing here? I don't deserve to get paid uh, $4,000, $5,000, $10,000 for this speech, and I'm only doing an hour for talking. Like we got to get rid of those limiting beliefs, right? Skill set. We got to hone in on your niche. We got to find your target audience. We got to find what speaks to audiences the most from your passion. And then toolkit. You got to know the business behind it. You got to write those. You got to have your contracts, those uh, the forms, the tax write-offs, all the paperwork that goes into it, because you gotta have that toolkit. They might ask for your W-2s, your 1099s, all those different things. So you gotta make sure that you have that toolkit. So my final words of wisdom is, don't do this alone. If you have a passion for it, here it is. I think isolation breeds incubation. When you're isolated, you turn into yourself. And when you do it yourself, it's hard to get it done. Not saying that it won't, but again, I believe that experience doesn't have to be the best teacher when somebody else already been through it. Right. So that being said, that's my final comment. Get the mindset, skill set, and toolkit.
Mindset, skill set to a kid. That is it for people that are like, where do I learn more? Where do I find you? Let us know. Where can they find Dr. Richard Warren?
They can find me at RH Warren Jr. at RH Warren Jr. And that's on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. And you can also find me on LinkedIn at Richard Warren. As it just dropped it in the chat, LinkedIn at Richard Warren. You can go to my website, Richard Warren Jr. PD.com as well. So that's where you can find me at any given time you might need me.
Yes, this was an amazing conversation. I'm gonna tell you guys that this is really authentic because I just dropped it on him like last minute. Like, you know what? I was really thinking, let's have a conversation about this instead. And he was like, all right, let's do it. So this is the real deal, y'all. He did not have time to prep these answers. Like, this is the real deal. So super conversation tonight. Thank you so much. This was great.
Yes,
Thank you.
not a problem. Not a problem.
Yeah, so I
Any
am now
questions?
going back through the chat. Anyone, if you have questions, go ahead and put them in. I am going through all
Mm-hmm.
of the chat right now. So let's just dive into the Q&A. We have
Ooh.
Terry who says, how can I, as a retired teacher that would like to share what I have learned? So if someone's retired already, is it too late for them? Can they still do this?
Listen, you are retired. First and foremost, congratulations.
Yes.
I'm trying to get there. So is there
Yes.
still that you are in one of the best positions to offer your advice and your wisdom, right? Like I'm sure you have so many stories that you've collected over the years, right? From when you first started till now, because we know the kids back then aren't the same as the kids now, right? So one of the things that you could talk about is how you adapted to the 21st century learner from when and how that influenced how your disposition for as far as teaching. There are so many teachers, young, middle, and old, that can learn from the transitions, the different changes in teaching. Because one thing's for sure, teaching will be ever evolving. If they can learn from a teacher who's been through those evolutions, man, that's how you can package that up. I will look at how you were able to transition through all of the different phases of teaching and still be able to say, I retired as a teacher. I would package that up real quick.
Love it. Awesome. Great advice. And the fact that you're retired, you got all the time in the world. You ain't got nobody
Mhm.
saying you done use those 3 days or however. Like, get it, get it, get it, get it. Love it. We
Mhm.
have people that have said how informative this is. So Gloria says, thank you so much. Very informative. Kevin, excellent conversation. Great
Oh
tips.
man, that's the
Hold on.
remember I was telling you remember I was telling you the individual who invited me back into schools?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor, that's him.
Well,
He,
thank
he
you.
he's the one
Yeah.
that yeah, he's the one that inspired me to go to be something that I never thought I could be. And that's a
Oh,
teacher.
that is
Shout out to Mr. Taylor.
amazing. Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you. That's amazing. We have a question from Carolyn who says, thank you so much for all of the information that you shared. How do we find the niche that we are good at? Great question. How do you identify that niche?
Yeah. There are several ways to identify that niche. Number one, it's your natural default of what you go to when times are rough. So, for example, if you are a classroom teacher and you're just like, I'm having a hard time with a student, but you're able to get that student to overcome, and there wasn't a book for it, there wasn't a lesson for it, teacher preparation didn't prepare you for it, but somehow, some way, you got that student to turn around. There's something special in you that made that happen, right? Or that can be for a lesson plan. That can be for maybe it's even just your colleagues in the copier room, your colleague who is stressed out and venting to you, and you're able to share some advice, right? That might be a niche of boosting teacher morale. What do you say in those moments? What do you do in those moments to make transformation happen? That's one of the ways you can find your niche, right? What excites you the most? What fuels you the most when you think about teaching, right? Maybe it's combating the school to prison pipeline. Maybe it's increasing the amount of diversity in the classrooms. What fuels you to keep going and what comes natural to you will really help define your niche, right? And then those experiences will come on top of it.
Awesome. And Ruthie said, best answer on niche selection that I've heard. That was a really great answer. So thank you for that. I'm telling y'all, I'm going back myself and watching this. So when I'm saying to you, oh, this was really like so many nuggets. I couldn't even get to all of them. Make sure you check it out or listen to it on your favorite podcast platform. And then there was one point where we were talking about like different ways that you can put yourself out there. And I think that's when Terry put out this suggestion. So I wanted to make sure that I shared it as well. Thank you, Terry, for sharing. She said, connect with your state learning forward affiliate. You can build your skills through quality professional learning. And then many states have an affiliate like Texas, and she kind of put it out there. So once again, that goes to finding those conferences that you enjoy attending, and really, really get engaged in that community. Like there is so much to being engaged in the community. You might think that people don't notice, but when you are speaking up, you're participating, you're answering other people's questions. Trust me when I tell you that the person behind the scenes, they see it. They notice you, they see it. So definitely get engaged. into the communities that you want to talk to. And then I just saw one more come up. For those of you, if you've been holding on to your question, now is the time. Now is the time. So go ahead and drop it in there. But Gloria says, I want to talk to beginner teachers about my experience to do better as a beginner teacher. So I don't know if she's asking a question, but just any advice to people that want to talk to beginning teachers, even if you are a beginning teacher. Let's go that route because I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah, if you're
absolutely.
just starting out and you're like, who do I talk to? And maybe you're like, I can inspire other beginning teachers. Any advice for them, someone that's new to the profession?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of another way to develop your niche. You ask yourself the question, what do I wish I would have known prior to coming into this profession? What do I wish someone would have taught me before I had to learn it myself? What kind of teacher did I wish I had when I was in school that I want to become? Right. And so to talk to beginning teachers about your experience to do better as a beginning teacher, that's important because here it is. Like, it's not all about the triumphs that you were able to overcome. It's also about the challenges, those missteps, those mistakes you've made, right? Those mistakes can turn into learning moments as well, teaching moments as well. And so, yes, you could talk about those experiences to your beginning teachers. Hey, here are some of the missteps. Here's some of the mistakes. Here's some challenges that I didn't get right the first time. There's something unique about authenticity and just sharing that as well. And so beginning teachers need to hear that you've messed up. You didn't always get it right. There were some hard nights, some long nights that you've been through. And then you can share how you were able to make the pivot later on. Right. So talk to those beginning teachers about what you would have done better. Here's a key topic. 3 things I wish I would have told my beginning teacher self about how I can work smarter, not harder. Bam, there's your topic right
There
there.
you go, right there. And
You know what I
every new
mean?
teacher is
And every new teacher gonna want to
totally
listen to that.
paying attention, right? Like, yes, that
Yeah.
was good. That was good right there. All right. So I feel like I've gotten everything that I see. Learning Miss O said excellent strategies. I completely agree. So many good strategies. Gloria says, thank you so much. I want to thank you. This has been a great conversation. And Dr. Richard Warren is going to be, I know he's already given you all of his social media links, but he's also going to be speaking, I know, at Teacher Heart Out, right?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes, yes. And or on the
Yes.
cruise, listen, if y'all, it's one thing to have somebody talk about being a teacher speaker. It's another thing to see it happen. And
Yes.
so I would invite y'all to come on this cruise, connect with me, the rest of the team, and actually see it happen, right? I want you to see the process. Remember, I told you, like, be at conferences, network, connect with somebody who's doing the work. Like, literally watch, like, study the keynote, study the way that I do it, how I word things, because what I'm telling you, actually, I've seen the impact of educators' lives and just being transformed by words. Like, I believe everybody can rock the world with their words, right? And so come to that conference, y'all. I'm telling you, you'll be able to see theory and practice at the same time.
Yes, you will see us all there. I am looking forward to it. I am going to be there. So even if you can't come to the cruise, come see us in Orlando. I think they have another one in Vegas. So just go to
Yes.
the website. We have a virtual one coming up. So it's definitely a way for you to get engaged with Teacher Goals and Teacher Heart Out and get involved in these conferences. So I hope to see you guys there in person, but definitely if you can't make it in person, like Terry, who says I will be there. So yes, thank you for joining us. We can't wait to meet you. The one we are talking about, the cruise in Orlando, is the beginning of July. I'm gonna put this website. If you go here to teachergoals.com/cruise, you will be able to find all of the information. So Gloria asked when and where. And so you'll get all the information about multiple summits we have. And keep your eyes open because we have some announcements coming up in the next few weeks as well. So definitely keep your eyes open. Subscribe on TeacherGoals.com, and they will definitely make sure that you get all of the information that you need. And so Dr. Rachel says, thank you. This was very inspiring. I agree. This was a great conversation. I am glad. I don't know if you were glad, but I am glad that I kind of just hit you with, let's do this instead, because this was such a great conversation. So thank you so much. Someone asked me to share the links again. I'm gonna share this one. If you go to teacherheartout.org/events, you can get the information there. You can also go to teachergoals.com/cruise, and you will get information about the conferences there as well. And so thank you. This has been a great conversation. Thank you all for hanging out with us tonight. We appreciate you taking time each week to join us for these conversations. Make sure that you are back. We will be back next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you haven't already done so, be sure to subscribe to Teacher Goals Podcast on Spotify, Apple, Google, wherever you listen to podcasts at, we are there. So take some time to subscribe and review and let us know how this podcast is helping you to increase your impact, which will one day lead to that income. I'm putting it all together for y'all. All right. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us, and have a great night. For those of you that go on spring break next week, enjoy your spring break and get you some rest. We appreciate you. Have a good night, everyone.